Hey guys, Bill here. Today's episode I'm going to be showing you how to back up your Windows 10 computer without going out and purchasing third-party cloning software or without purchasing space on the cloud. And it is very simple and it's free software and it actually already exists on your operating system, so there's nothing you need to go and download. But first off, to get this backup started, you're going to require a flash drive or an external hard drive. But first off, you're also going to need to know how much space you actually need to have on this flash drive or external hard drive. We'll go ahead and show you some examples of what these look like. This is just a generic example of a hard drive, external hard drive, and this is just a generic example of a flash drive. Now, to determine how much space you're going to need on one of these devices is pretty simple, just as simple as the process is backing up is. We're going to go down to where it says type here to search. We're just going to type in that search bar File Explorer. It's going to be the first one at the top, the File Explorer desktop app. Go ahead and left click that. And then we're going to look on the left side here. You got a lot of different options, but we're only going to be dealing with one of them, and that's the one that says This PC. Go ahead and left click on that. Now you see here that I have 3 different hard drives where it says devices and drives. I have 3 of them. Now, for most people, you're probably only going to have 2 or 1 if you don't already have your external hard drive or flash drive plugged in. But in this case, I have 2 because I have 2 solid states in my computer. So that's just some little bit of information there for you. But primarily, you're going to be dealing with local disk C or local disk D. It's had a couple different drive letters in the past, or if the manufacturer sets it up differently, it might say OSC or OSD. But a quick way to check to make sure you're looking at the right hard drive if you honestly can't figure it out from that little bit of information, you just go ahead and open it up, and if you see Windows files, program files, and users, that's probably the right hard drive. So go ahead and hit back. And so it says down here on the bottom, this is how you're going to determine how much data you're going to need on your external hard drive or your flash drive. Now I have 89 gigabytes free of my 447 gigabytes because it's a 450 gigabyte solid state. So I'd probably want to go out, and if I was going to back this up, I would want to get a 500 gigabyte hard drive. But if I take into account that I have 2 hard drives installed on here and they're both about 450 gigabytes, I probably want a 1 terabyte external hard drive so I'd be able to back up both of my drives. So that's how you can determine what size or what amount of data or space you actually need in order to get the backup process started. So once you've decided that and you've acquired your external hard drive or flash drive to do the backup, we can go ahead and continue. Go ahead and close that out, and we're going to go pop down to where it says type here to search again. We're going to go ahead and type in settings, and then we're going to go to settings, trusted Microsoft Store app. Go ahead and left click that. Then we're going to go to update and disk security on the bottom, and then on the left we're going to go to where it says backup and left click that. And now you get a little bit of information here. It explains what's going on here. Where it says go to restore and backup on Windows 7 and backup Windows 7, that's going to exist on most Windows 10 machines, even ones that are fresh installs. So go ahead and ignore that. That's not going to work for the most part unless you honestly have a Windows 7 backup. But after a couple months, and the time kind of varies in between, it's been deleted. So you won't actually be able to go back to Windows 7. But let's get back to doing the Windows 10 backup. So go ahead and click on where it says add drive. Now, conveniently, I've gone ahead and I've renamed my external hard drive to say backup. And you can do the same thing. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. So let's go back into File Explorer. Go ahead and open that up. Go back to this PC. And this is the external hard drive down here, actually. So you just right-click your external hard drive or flash drive and go to where it says rename. Then you can rename it whatever you want. In some cases, though, when it comes to doing drive changes, they don't show up on everything. You might have to restart the computer to see the new name. For flash drive, I've noticed it's instantaneous, but sometimes for external hard drives, you might have to do a restart to see the new name. I'm going to close that out. So I'm going to go back to add drive here. As you'll see what I was talking about, it still says backup. So if you want to make sure you can see what the new name of the drive is, you just have to restart the computer, and then it'll initialize the new name into the software. So once you click add drive, you select your external hard drive or flash drive, which in this case would be my backup drive. Just go ahead and left click that. It's going to go ahead and initiate the file history on the drive, which, for most people might not take too long, but sometimes it can be a time-consuming process if you're on a very lower-end machine. Then we're going to go to where it says more options. It's right beneath where you selected your backup drive. You got a lot of different options here. So there's a couple things you could do. You could back it up right now, this very second, or and there's the or. You can have it do automatic backups every hour, every 30 minutes, every 12 hours, every day, every 10 minutes. You have a lot of different options there. Now, trying to decide which one you want to do there really comes down to how frequently you use your computer. If you're editing and changing files every minute of the day, I'd say to have it update and back up every 10 minutes. But if you don't do too much on the computer, having it back up daily might be the better option. But it's going to be every hour by default. Or if you don't want it to do automatic backups, you can simply do backup now. And depending on how much data you take up, it can take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours to 3 hours, maybe even more if you have a 10 or a 20 terabyte hard drive you're using that's filled up. But you can also just do the backup now option. And what that'll do is that'll instantly start backing up your existing hard drive with all of your data on it in the operating system. And you'll be good to go. The other thing you'd like to do to make sure that these backups are running continuously, you want to go to where it says keep my backups. If you have it on forever, if you have it on the default option, it'll only save and back up your data until the hard drive is full. But in order to make sure that this hard drive is backing up all existing data consistently, you're going to want it to be until space is needed. So what it's going to do when you have it on until space is needed, it's going to delete old data and replace it with new data. So that way you have a continuous existing backup of that hard drive up until the day that it decides to give on you. And that's a very nice way to make sure you keep it up to date always, is if you have it on until space is needed. But if it's on forever, once it gets to the capacity, it's going to stop backing up. And that's where a lot of people make their mistake with this, is they don't go back into these settings and change that setting and make sure it's on until space is needed. I've noticed in a lot of cases people will think, oh, I've got a backup, I've had it running, but they had it on keep forever. Which means that it probably only backed up about once or twice, 2 years ago when you set it. Then all of a sudden you only have data from the 2 years ago. So you want to make sure it's on the until space is needed option. So it'll just keep deleting and rewriting over with new data once you make that change. And that's pretty much it. That's all there is to making sure you got a backup of your Windows 10 machine onto an external hard drive or flash drive. Like I said, as before, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and pop them down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Have a good one.